What is up, everybody? Welcome to the live composing show. My name is Stephen Melin, and just in case you are new to the show today, as I expect many people are going to be, I also run Simple Samples Audio and Video Game Music Alliance. I got a lot going on in the video game space, in the music space. So I hope that today you have a lot of fun hanging out with us. And as always, please say hi inside the live chat. I cannot wait to meet some of the new folks here. And I'm going to be moving pretty quick today because I actually only have 1 hour. I usually do these streams for about 2 to 3 hours where I write live music for different commercial projects. But specifically for today, we're going to be focusing on Simple Samples Audio and some of the new Kontakt instruments that I'm currently building. It's a very small team. Right now, it's just me and one other person, Matt Everett, who is our product manager. And many of you already know Matt from VGMA. He helps out with, he's the community manager there. And then we have a marketing guy, and that's it. And even marketing hasn't even started officially. So quick little backstory. What's up, Jordan? What's up, Clinton? William? Quick little backstory as we're piling in here this morning. Simple Samples Audio was a bit of a side hustle for me back in 2020. That was a time where I was working on custom music projects, and just for fun, I was building Kontakt instruments. I wasn't very good at it at the beginning. But it was something that I was very passionate about doing and making tools for composers. And I was already doing it as part of my project. So I figured, hey, let's just start packaging these up and selling them and figuring it out along the way. That was back in 2020. And so I did that for a little over a year. And that was also during the time that I was starting Video Game Music Alliance, really around the start of 2021. And it got to a point, here's what I've learned starting businesses. Anytime you start a new business, it consumes about a year of your life, because you have to put all of your time and energy into it. It's very much like having a baby. That first year of a baby's life is just all consuming, right? You have to learn the new rhythms, and you have to learn the feeding schedule. You have to learn all the things, right? Sleeping. So similar to a new business, it just takes a lot of energy and time to get things set up and to get team members in place. And so what I learned during that process was I cannot do two new businesses at the same time. And so Simple Samples, I put a pause on it, actually got it trademarked, set it aside, and knew I was going to come back to it. I just didn't know when. I really needed to focus all my time and energy on Video Game Music Alliance. But here we are now, several years later, 2025, and at the beginning of this year, I made the decision that, you know what? VGMA is in a very healthy place. We've got great team members, got a lot of responsibility divvied out, and even more so down the line, to where my time is not needed as much inside there. I'm still involved, not as much. Now I can focus more on going back to the Kontakt instrument stuff and kind of rebranding SSA, Simple Samples Audio. And so here we are at the beginning of kind of the new phase, the new life, version 2.0 of Simple Samples. And this time around, I really want to do it differently, where I'm really giving my absolute best when it comes to quality, when it comes to branding, when it comes to marketing, not just marketing like, come buy my stuff, but like these types of events where I can show you behind the scenes. I can have live streams with you. I can have conversations with you. And I love customer service. I think that's very, very important. The best companies in the world have the best customer service. There's a reason it matters, because you got to know what your customers want and try to give it to them the best you can. So anyway, all that to say, I'm excited to be back with Simple Samples. We're back. We're on fire. Lots of great things going on. And the first thing I want to just shout out today in the live chat right now, there's a pinned comment. Will you guys just go take a moment, if you haven't yet, go subscribe to the Simple Samples Audio YouTube channel. It's brand new, so it's ugly and there's nothing good on there yet. So please bear with us as we get that looking better and get some more videos up and everything. But basically, we have to get 50 subscribers according to the YouTube rules before they let us live stream on there. 50 is no big deal. That should be really, you can get that in one day. So I hope that you guys will just go take a second, subs there. And that way, when I do another one of these SSA-oriented streams, I can do it from there. And that way, this live composing show on the Stephen Melin channel can continue to be the live composing show, solely focused on writing video game music for new games and new soundtracks. And they can kind of be separate entities, but I know that there will be some crossover. Some of you will want to go to both. So, but I don't want to force SSA upon people who don't care. So there's that. What else is going on? Tomorrow you guys should be looking out. There is on VST Buzz. For those of you who are familiar, VST Buzz is like a discount, kind of like a lightning deal site for VSTs and plugins and Kontakt instruments. So we have several Simple Samples products on there tomorrow, which is actually why I need to cut this stream short today so that I can go focus on making sure all of that stuff is working, because we actually have some new back-end systems, including the Pulse downloader. Those of you who are familiar with that, a lot of big companies use that. We just got to make sure everything's squeaky clean, make sure everything's working as expected, all the codes and all the things. It's a lot of nerdy back-end stuff that has to work before going on a big site like that. So that's very exciting. So look out in your emails tomorrow. There's going to be a really cool deal there. And those things are always very short, so you got to jump on them. They don't happen too often. So anyway, that's exciting. So what is going on here today? Well, working on 3 new products right now for the next, let's just call it 3 to 6 months. Next 3 to 6 months. And I wish I had the time. This was the plan, guys. I was going to spend the next 3 hours like walking you through step by step the whole process of creating a Kontakt instrument. Maybe that'll just have to be a video for later. But instead, I want to kind of give you the snapshot, give you the summary, and we can get super nerdy and developer talk later. If you have specific questions, I know, William, you mentioned at the beginning of the chat, you've always wanted to learn how to create Kontakt instruments. So I'll show you kind of the basics, and you guys can kind of extrapolate from there. I won't show you any coding, but I'll show you kind of what the code does, what the scripting does. We can get nerdy on that later. But anywho, yeah, let's jump into this thing. So let me jump over. I have to do everything inside of my DAW, because what I learned today is I can't stream audio from Kontakt itself. There is no output without screwing with my computer audio settings. Ugh, no good. So instead, I'm inside new window. That's my weapon of choice for my DAW. And over here in my channel strip, all I have is this old plugin, old faithful. This is called Voxingo Recorder. I actually have an entire YouTube video about that. If you're ever curious, if anybody's streaming on PC and you're just trying to figure out how do I get my audio to work on my DAW, this is how. It's this old plugin called Voxingo Recorder. You hit start, and as long as that thing is running, anything I play inside the DAW, now you can hear. The only problem is I have to mute my audio from my audio interface. Just one button, hit mute, and now it's no longer doubled. Awesome. Okay, so I have to do everything inside my DAW. Normally, whenever I do scripting for Kontakt instruments, I do everything just on my desktop, meaning I'll just pull open a Windows Explorer folder, and I'll open up a fresh instance of Kontakt, whatever version I'm working on. Right now, I'm working on Kontakt 7. Kontakt 8 has been out for a while, and I'm sure Kontakt 9 is on the way. I always like to work in a previous version. That's a good rule of thumb in anyone who does software development. Unless you absolutely have to use the latest and greatest for a specific feature, don't do it, because you're going to be ostracizing a whole chunk of people who are not ready to upgrade to Kontakt 8 or 9. So I'm focusing on Kontakt 7, and I have one library, the Brandon Boot Analog Textures, which is in Kontakt 6. It has not been updated to 7, and it doesn't need to be. It's already, perfect for what it is. Anyway, what's up, Thunderburst? Welcome, welcome. William says, I'd like to see how Legato can be done. I know that might be a little extreme, but I'm intrigued. Yeah, Legato is a very laborious process. I'll tell you just in theory, how it works and how we did it with the Legato viola, which you can go grab for free. That's a free library for you guys. Basically, you have to record the transitions between every pitch, usually within an octave range. So for like a C to a C, C4 to C5, you're going to record every half step, C to C sharp, C to D, C to D sharp, C to E, all the way up, and then you do it backwards. C5 backwards to B4, backwards, C to A sharp, C to A, C to D sharp, and you work your way all the way down that way. And what that does is you've now created a little catalog of transitions. And the way that you program that is when you throw in your normal notes, like C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, all of them, right? And your different round robins, your different dynamic layers, all the things, all your repetitions. Then what you do is you create a separate group within Kontakt, which is a collection of pitches, a collection of wave files. And you have both of them playing at the same time. And basically what you do is you just shorten the length of the transition patch of the wave file. You just shorten that to only be the like the little scoop that is the legato slur. And then what you're doing is you're actually basically triggering both at the same time, so that you're triggering the initial pitch, and then as the release, there's a release function in Kontakt, the release patch then triggers the little scoop, and then you play the third pitch, which is the destination pitch. So you actually have 3 wave files, a long starter, it's called a start, and then the transition, and then the release. And by having those 3 wave files, you now have created a legato that feels realistic. And as long as you do that for an octave range, you can do that all the way up and down the instrument. You have yourself some incredibly expressive and authentic sounding legatos. And that's what we did for the viola. And if you've ever, I guess you can't, but if you ever were to go inside, let's do that for a second. That's a wonderful question. For those of you who have full version Kontakt, which should be everybody, because you can't run any of our stuff without it. Let me open it up real quick. Legato viola. Just so you can see what I'm talking about. It's worth taking a moment. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare to program. It's a nightmare to edit. But for anyone that's used version 1.3, it is infinitely better than previous versions, because I've gone back and fixed all this stuff. Here it is. So if I hit edit all groups, you can see everything. It's literally a square. That's how many files are inside of there. Basically, we had 2 different dynamic levels, mezzo forte and piano, and then we had 2 different playing positions, which is like the normal first position and then third position or higher, which is called upper. And then, if you go into any of the groups, you can see those are the original pitches, right? But then we had to have the release as well. And you can do this without going into the script, because the script is locked. Most people will lock their scripts, but you can actually go in here and poke around if you're ever curious. Go into the wave editor and just look inside, see what's going on, and you can start to learn. Okay, cool. Those are like the original pitches, and then when you play something, what actually happened. Okay, it triggered that one, that one, that one. You can actually see it'll highlight which ones you played, and then you can use select zone by MIDI, and it'll actually show you the exact wave file that's being used. Isn't that cool? So you see how the start is not the actual start of the pitch; it's after the little scoopy scoop, the transition. So that's what it is. It's setting your start samples to be the start of the sample to be after the scoop of the transition, and then you set your loop to be during like the vibrato part. So it is highly technical. That's how you do it, and you create this grid of pitches, and that's for every single patch. Not even a patch, like this whole thing is a patch, right? But every group. It is very, very intense. But yes, Simple Legato Viola is now free for you. I don't know if it's forever or not, but it is free right now. So go grab it off the simplesamples.co website. Go grab it. Enjoy. I'll put a link just for you. Simple Samples Audio Legato Viola. There you go, William. Enjoy. Thanks for the chat. All right. Anywho, see, I get to meet awesome people like William when I do streams like this. What are we working on? Well, I'm working on 3 different libraries at the same time, which is kind of insane, but this is how I do it. Something you should know about my life is I have 6 kids, and they're all homeschooled, and I work out of a home studio. I used to work out of a separate studio, but once our kid threshold went beyond what is sustainable, I guess. I'm not sure what number that was. I guess 5 was when I was like, okay, I'll come back home. It helps. It helps a lot to be able to work for an hour or 2 or 3 and then go help out with the kids or take them somewhere or whatever, because they're all school aged, and kids are 1 to 17. So we're everywhere in between elementary, middle school, high school, and it's nuts. It's beautiful chaos. So with that, I have to have a job that is flexible so I can jump back and forth between meetings and helping out with the house. So all that to say, it is very challenging for me to record large instruments unless the entire family is gone. So I do have a recording closet over here. It's literally just a closet, a coat closet that I convert into a recording booth. Just has blankets hanging up, has microphones in there. And then I can take small instruments that are, yay big or smaller, like drums and flutes and hammered dulcimers, whatever. I can go in the closet, record for hours and no one's disturbed or whatever. I can be as loud as I want. So that's nice because most instruments fall in that category. But when it comes to pianos, which are giant instruments, I recently recorded 2 different pianos, a horror piano and a felt piano, in my garage. And I made sure, I chose days that the family was out for the whole day. And I was able to record extensively for many hours and not have to worry about that. So did that recently. And that's why I have all this data now that I'm a little ahead of schedule for the year, but I wanted to go ahead and get started. So, currently these 3 libraries are in very different stages. So maybe I can show you what the mental process is. How do you do this, right? Well, step 1 is you got to have an instrument worth recording. It should be something that you actually want to record, and honestly, it should sound good already wherever you're going to record it. So put it in a space like a garage, which actually has great acoustics, if you do it right, or a recording closet if it's something that needs to be super clean, right? So step 1 is just having an instrument worth recording and then getting that instrument into a space that sounds good. So if it sounds good to your ears naturally, then it will, there is a way to make it sound good on microphones. You just have to kind of translate it. So that's step 1. Step 2 is getting microphone placement to reflect what you want. And for me, I've been experimenting for this for years, and I finally landed on a 5 microphone setup that I think is just chef's kiss. And it makes everything sound so freaking good. And it's the way that I want my instruments to sound. And this is for small instruments, big instruments. And basically it is 2 close, so small mics, small condenser. I'm using the SE8s. They're all in the closet. I don't want to grab them, but the SE8, which is just a little stereo pair of small pencil condenser mics. They're really, really high end, like high frequency. They're not going to get much low end, but they're really good for that detail. So really close mic. I'll get those things within like a couple inches of the sound source. And I like to get them really far apart. And then I will actually pan them hard left, hard right. And that's my close sound. And then I will use 2 dynamic mics, the SM57s, I think are the best at this. And I will crank them up to almost max input, like 30 dB, 50 dB, something really, really high. Because, SM57s have traditionally been used to record like guitar cabinets, amps. They can handle lots of noise, but they do not capture high end well at all. They capture the low end really well. So I will take the SM57s and I'll stick them underneath whatever the instrument is to get all that low woofy sub information. Not really subs, but you know what I mean, the low end information. So like with the dulcimer, I stuck them under the dulcimer. For the pianos, I put them on the back of the pianos, and it gave me all that low rumble that you won't get with the high end small condensers. And those are dynamic mics, which means they're not phantom powered, which means you can just crank them and they sound great. There's 0 noise, 0. It's just yummy, warm. It's the warm sound, basically, instead of the bright sound. And then there's 2 of those, so also panned left, hard right. And if you position them in a way that they kind of capture the mid range of the spectrum, now you're getting really good, clear high end, and you're getting really clear low end without the low sub information, which nobody wants in a dulcimer anyway, or a piano. You don't need, right? That's bass information. Like, it's almost worthless. People are going to cut it off anyway. So, I'm talking like 60 hertz and below. It just naturally, using these mics, it will naturally not capture that, which is great. Less work for me. And then the final mic is I like to get a large large diaphragm condenser, just to capture the room, whatever room I'm in, closet, garage. So I'm using a classic. It's a Rode NT1A. Put that thing 10 feet in the air and just kind of capture the room, turn it way down in the mix, but it just gives a little bit of sizzle, a little bit of that analog vibe of the air. There's a distance between the instrument and that. And by setting mics up this way, it prevents phasing, it prevents any weird EQ issues, and it just creates a really pristine, clear sound. And I've been using that just for a couple months now, and I'm really enjoying that new 5 mic setup, and that's what all the instruments will be using moving forward. Unless I just don't need 5, maybe I only need 4 or 3. I don't know. I might be experimenting. I like a small drum. I don't know if 5 mics will really help, but we'll see. I'm definitely experimenting. So let me show off for a second, since we're just gabbing along here. There's now a Simple Samples Audio Instagram account that you guys can go follow as well, and I'll be putting more behind the scenes pics and videos and things of recording this stuff. But I put up the other day the Hammer Dulcimer, so just check it out just so you're aware of this microphone setup, and maybe this is interesting for you. Check it out, guys. This is my mobile rig for the day. So got the laptop and a Scarlett AT920 with 5 microphones plugged up into there. Recording the Hammer Dulcimer today. Pretty awesome. So what do we got going on? Well, up top, to really capture the high sizzliness, we have some SE8s, small condensers, and they're a cardioid pattern, so that they're pointed directly at the Dulcimer to really get some of that high-end, high-frequency goodness. Then on the bottom, we have 2 Shure SM57s. The dynamic mics that are going to really be directional to capture all that yummy low end that comes out of the bottom. And then up top we have the Rode NT1A, nothing too fancy. That's just to capture the room. I know it's a tiny little closet, but it helps a lot. It gives a lot of space to this little room. And then I just hung up some blankets to really help deaden this space right here, so that when I start playing, really gets to capture all the ringing. Really cool. So I'm really excited for how this turns out. All right, and then just to show you guys while we're here, we also show you horror piano. Finally doing it. I'm making the horror piano. Same 5 mic setup. I can't wait. We got a 5 mic setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this thing sounds incredible. These are my tools of torture down here. Giant hammer, of course. These big low wax. Got the little hammer for little sounds. Or I guess you could pluck it. Pretty cool. And then drumsticks, of course. You can whack it. Or you can do little glissandos. So satisfying. And then on the other side, I taped these little felt hammers from a piano. These really spooky soft sounds. So it's basically a giant harp that I can do all sorts of fun stuff with. So cannot wait to share this recording with you soon. And then one more, I put this on, let's go to the Simple Samples. Yeah, Jordan. I actually started to wonder, I wonder what the neighbors are thinking right now. So I'm like destroying all of these pianos, these strings. All right, guys, we are on day 2 of recording, and today we got the felt piano. Same setup as the horror piano. We have the 5 mics, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this time, this is an upright piano that I just took some cloths and I put them up here in the top so that when you play a key, it actually dampens it and it creates a really beautiful sound. And I cannot wait to play with. Running all this on new window, got the laptop here with a Scarlett AT920. I don't use this for my normal day-to-day in the studio, but this is so good for portable because it has so many outputs on the back that I can just stick all the microphones I need, and I can divide them by phantom power for the first row, 1 through 4, And then the second row, 5 through 8, I don't need phantom power because I'm using dynamic SM57s on the back of the piano. And so really the goal here is to capture that really bright, beautiful hammer action sound. With these close mics, these are the SE8s by SE Audio, incredibly high detail, very similar to the Neumann KM184s, very similar to that. And then up here, this is just for capturing room noise in this garage here. There's a little bit of nice echo reverb, and so that's a Rode NT1A. It's just going to capture some of the ambience, and I'll turn that down like 22 dB. And then this is so cheap and practical, but it's the blanket, right? The blanket back here is going to capture all of those early reflections. It's going to keep it from like going and bouncing around, and also just helps that inside the garage itself, there's enough objects out here that it's not going to bounce. And when I actually record, I'll close the garage door so that all the sound is captured inside. There's no wind and that kind of stuff, but really pumped. Day 2, here we go. All right, friends, so there you go. It kind of gives you a little taste of this microphone setup and why I'm doing it this way, because I actually did a lot of research to try to find a combo of mics that would work well together. And it seems that by having 2 dynamics for the bottom and 2 small condensers for the top end of any instrument, as long as you place them to where there's no phase cancellation, there's a 3-to-1 rule that the distance between the microphones, left and right stereo, should be 3 times larger than the distance between the microphone and the sound source. So as long as you obey those mathematics, then you're not going to have any phasing. And because I'm panning everything hard left, hard right, it just creates this incredibly rich sound. And what you heard was a phone recording, and you saw how cool it was. Like that horror piano literally shook the house. It was like an earthquake. Every time I took a hammer and waxed those low strings, it was like shaking the house. It was so cool. But the fact that my microphones could capture that, that's everything. And it didn't have so much to do with the microphones themselves, because guys, you can get those SM57s for $100 each. Those are cheap microphones. The SE8s are more like $600 or $700. Okay, fine. But it's the utilization of the combo of the mics and knowing what you're doing with the mics that makes all the difference. Anyway, so the reason I shared all that is because, if we're going to do this whole Kontakt instrument thing, you got to have a great sound to start with, which I do. You got to start. And then number 2 is you got to use a good microphone placement. And then you got to bounce it. At least this is what I want to do. I didn't feel like the mic placements, because they weren't so different from each other, that it warranted like having the knobs inside the Kontakt instrument. Maybe one day I'll do that, but just because I want to keep it simple samples, I didn't necessarily want to give a bunch of like too many options, too many knobs. So instead I summed it to stereo, and then it gives us something like this. So let me just show you the horror piano in its current state. It's not a Kontakt instrument yet, but it will be turned into one soon. So just to kind of give an idea, what I do is I take the 5 mics and I sum them together into one long wave file. Might actually be easier to see it. Let's do it this way. Man, here I am, 30 minutes in, and I'm still just blabbering, but I thought this might be fascinating for you guys today. So here's what it looks like. It's just a bunch of wave files. Oops. It sounds so good. Oh, you can't hear that, can you? Why not? Let me check. Usually we can hear. No, weird. You guys can't hear that, can you? Is it? Maybe it's here. Audio playback. Ah, that's why. Maybe. There it goes. Whoa. That's so cool. So we're going to be taking all these and chopping them to oblivion. Oops. Get the idea. So typically what we do is we'll take, yeah, you guys can hear now, I think. It says you can hear it. what we do is with patches like this that are not tempo recorded, we'll just throw it into Pro Tools and we'll chop it by transient, which basically means it'll automatically find every single one of these little starting points and it'll chop it. And then we can batch export all of the WAV files and then rename them however we want. So that's a very Pro Tools heavy task. We'll typically do that with, you know, hundreds and hundreds of files at once, bulk editing. But yeah, that's going to sound so cool. Just kind of showing you guys what it looks like as a WAV file. This one, for example, I recorded everything at 60 BPM so that we have round robins. So that would be one round robin. And then I did it again, and again, and again, and again. So this is why it takes hours to record these instruments. Multiple round robins for every single pitch. And I did not do different dynamics because there was no point. Because if you're going to choose to use the horror piano as your instrument, you're going to use it to whack. Like, we don't really need dynamics. But that was the general idea. And then, of course, you know, things like glissandos. Sounds so good. These are quiet. That's all 5 mics summed together. And for every patch, I will individually, well, for every like instrument, I will individually mix it to make sure that it's the best level I can get it. Like that is so cool and useful in horror music. All those low rumblies. Ah, so good. And that's with a felt hammer, which is kind of cool. Like things like finger gliss with my fingers. It's very subtle, right? Anyway, we'll be chopping all that stuff up. It's a lot of work. But that is generally what we do there. And then what we do is create folders of all of those items organized. And so, for example, let me go to a different library that is a little bit more along the way. I actually just started this yesterday. What is it called? Simple Felt Piano. You saw the recording video. So I created a folder called Raw. And what I do is, this was the original WAV file, which had all, like the hour, it was an hour plus of audio in it. And then I ran it through a limiter just to make sure that there was no peaking of any kind. And if I had to do any kind of audio work, that would be the time to do it. But actually, it was a very clean recording. Nobody was home. It was very, very clean. No extra noises, a couple of retakes, whatever. But then what I do is I open it up in Pro Tools and I chop it up into all of the individual files. And so then I organize them by round robins like this. These are all the round robin 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, which actually was not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this crazy amount of files, but really it's just 88 times 4 minus all of the outtakes, right? And then what I do is open up Kontakt. And then this is where the fun begins, when you get to start playing with it. So simple samples, horror, what was this? Simple felt piano. Then what I do is I create a new, so you can double click here and create a new instrument and then start editing it. Well, I already did that right there, saved it, and it saves all the samples inside, compresses them. And this is what it looks like. Make sure you can hear that. Oh my gosh, love it so much. So let me just take all the things off real quick. So here is how we actually do this. I create 4 empty groups, name them round robin 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go over here. It's pretty simple actually. Go over here to my round robins 1, literally click them, drag them in. That is it. So for example, if I were to do this again, if I were to call this, just for example, call it round robin 5 and then go over here. Let's get them, this is why I hate working inside a DAW window, because it's just really hard to drag and drop stuff. But what I'm going to try to do is get all these in the same, it's kind of impossible, but basically there it goes like that. See, you drag them and then you hold down on the mouse. And because this is a piano, we should start at A0, and just like that, boom, they're there, they're in. And then let me make sure my scripting is turned off so that there's no weird stuff. And then basically, that's what I just grabbed. Now, it's not perfect. But it sounds pretty good already. So what you're probably hearing right off the bat is the release is very, very short. So if I play it and let go, all of a sudden it like disappears really fast. That's because you have to go down here into your source. It's called amplifier. You got to go to the mod and then go to envelope, AHDSR. Click that and scroll down to the bottom. And now you have yourself, you can change your release. You can change everything about it. So now when I punch it, if it's short, it's just like a synthesizer. Cool. Now there's a whole other slew of things we can do to it, but that in effect is what I've done already. So I'm going to delete that group. And so what I've done is I've created 4 separate groups with all of the recordings. So far, so good. But of course, you probably have already noticed it's very quiet. Well, it probably should be. It was a felt piano. So first of all, I want to turn my Kontakt instrument back up. I like to do -0.1. That already helps a lot. And we go to edit all groups. And let's select, turn all this stuff off that I've already, there we go. Go down to the bottom and there should be, it looks like I didn't save it. Modulation, there it is. So I already have my AHDSR, which is my attack, hold, decay, sustain, release. There it is. I already put it in. I put my parameters in that I liked. And I also need to make sure that for now we're going to do group solo, selected groups only, select zone by MIDI. That way when I click on an individual round robin group, it only plays that one. And you might be wondering, why is this so poppy and like choppy? Like you can clearly hear the piano, but there's something weird going on. That's because I haven't edited any of it. But you go to round robin 1 and it sounds perfect. Oh, I should show you my, how do I do this? Oh, there we go. I wanted you to see my hands. Right, something like that. Sounds pretty freaking good. And that's just one round robin. Well, that's because I went one by one with this button here called Select Zone by MIDI. And then what I've done is every time, when I turn my wave editor on, every time I push a key in that round robin, it's going to show me the wave file for it. That's really helpful. And then one by one, all 88. I heard one. That one. Just gotta use your ears. There, fixed. That's it. It's not complicated, but it is time consuming. Basically, I go by, I literally go to every single key. If there's a mistake in it, I can go back to the sound source itself, or in this case, because it's such a tiny little fix, I'll just do a tiny little fade in. And like that. There, fixed. It just needed a tiny little fade in because I exported the sample like a millisecond too late. There's another one. Good. Just like that. It's because it's too early. There. And I'm a human, I'm not a machine, so I did not play everything perfectly in time always. So I'll zoom in, find a new start point. So yeah, this might take an hour. I'm not going to bore you with it today, but like that. And there are bulk options for doing this, but I've never found one that actually solves it. because it's human error, right? But this part of it that's nice. I've made a point whenever I'm working on these libraries to not get rid of the human element. Otherwise, we're just dealing with another stupid sample library that nobody wants. It needs to sound real. The only way it's going to sound real is if it has a little bit of humanity baked in. Like that. That was the natural sound of the hammer. And you might want to remove it, but it's kind of nice that every once in a while, that little hammer sound's going to come through. There's another one. It's just there, and that's okay. There's another one. But this time it's actually a sample popping, so I'm just going to do the tiniest little fade in. That helps. There we go. Now, round robin 1 is ready. It didn't take that long, did it? This is with 0 effects, 0 editing, guys. This is literally just the mics. I haven't tuned it. Haven't compressed it. And part of the reason it sounds a little janky is because it's literally the same sample every time, because it's only one round robin in this moment. But how about we do this? Can you guys give me a few minutes? And if you stick around, let me save it first of all, because I just made a lot of changes. So if I save it, I always do compress samples. Number 1, for copyright protection, no one can steal it. But number 2, it actually decreases the size of the folder, which is great. And I have the originals anyway on my hard drive on a different folder, so no one's gonna, I'm not gonna steal it for myself, you know. So let's now go to round robin 2. If you guys give me a couple minutes, I will actually go through these. Shouldn't take too long, I hope. And I'll show you a shortcut to make this faster. Watch. I'm gonna do, gonna move all of my sample start times. Well, for starters, let me move him there. Kontakt has a lot of really cool bulk functions. I'm going to go to the second note. The second note is usually where problems start to happen. I'm going to just move everything over a little bit. I'm going to use this bulk function called to all selected zones, copy current sample start settings. And because I have like blisteringly, it's already done. Because I have blisteringly fast M.2 SSDs, which is the fastest SSD that I know of. It just, every editing function happens immediately. So if you start to look through the beginnings of these notes, you'll notice that they get like increasingly off, right? So that little trick will only get you so far. It doesn't solve it. So you do shortcuts and you get screwed. So it's just the way it goes. So if you just give me a second, I'm pretty fast at this. Been doing it for a while. Literally all I'm doing is eyeballing. I know it's not fun to watch, but this is what it means to do sample libraries. What I really want to show you is when it's done is how to round robin all of them together with a little script that I use, which just makes it sound incredible. I was planning on doing a 3-hour stream today. I can't do that, but maybe I can be slightly flexible. Gotta get ready for this big VST Buzz sale tomorrow. Yeah, this felt piano came out so nice. I was scared to death because I did a full recording, and I left all the microphones up because it took like 2 hours, maybe an hour. to get everything set up, like plugged in and set where I wanted it. And I was like, and to push a piano to the garage, which was annoying. And so I told myself, like, this better be perfect or else. So I went and, got all the files ready and tested it out, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, I guess I'm done. So I literally spent half the time I thought it was going to take to record this thing. Couldn't believe it. And it's because I've now done it a few times. I know exactly where I want to put my mics. It's all about mic placement. You can get and actually, what's funny is the video that I showed you earlier, I took that video right before I actually did the recording. And once I started recording, I actually noticed that my my SE8 mics needed to be moved further away from the piano. They were too close. They got too much hammer sound to the point where it was like click, 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 click on every note. So I actually brought them back about 3 inches each, closer to me, a little bit closer to where my ears are when sitting at the bench. And I found that was just such more natural sound. Especially when, I disassembled the piano to get all of the wood off the top of it, the covers and stuff. So we don't usually hear that much hammer. But I'm really happy with this blend. You can even hear it right now. You can hear a little bit of hammer, but it's not like destroying the notes. And the notes themselves are so quiet. But actually I found with the felt piano that the SM57s were actually the heroes of the day. Because if I were to take away the SM57s, this would sound very brittle and bright without any of that mid-range warmth. Gosh, I hate how long this takes. I wish I could just like zoom through it, but that's what you get for being here. So here's an example of a moment that I'm going to zoom in a ton. All that's happening is the sample starting without a fade in. See, fixed. Yeah, I've been so frustrated not having a felt piano I actually like over the years that I'm just gonna freaking finally do it myself. And that's how all of my instruments have come about. I'm like, why doesn't this exist? I guess someone's got to do it. At the end of last year, I made a harp. I made a harp instrument that is infinitely better than anything else out there because I recorded it the way I want to record it. And I'm not saying that I'm better. I'm just saying it's what I want. I know what I want when it comes to audio. And if someone hasn't made it yet, then it's my job to make it. Come on. That's actually the natural sound. It's not peaking. That's the actual tinny sound of those high notes, which is kind of nice, actually. That's true, Jordan. You guys are getting what you pay for here. Cost of admission. Hey, I'm the one that has to do it. I hate doing this part. This is the worst part of sampling. Is the meticulous editing to get the timings right. Ugh. But there's just, I don't know any other way. Either you're doing it in the DAW itself. I typically do this in Pro Tools first and then bounce them. Because you can see the waveforms a little bit easier. But this time I needed to test it fast. I made a sample, what you just saw. I had to have that test to like prove it to myself that I could tear down the mics. There it is. I mean, for no editing, that's pretty freaking good. Why is that one weird? Oh, fixed it. There. If there's a pop, it's just because the start time is off by just a millisecond. With some reverb, this is gonna just shine. And with some little bit of compression, tiny bit of EQ. Obviously the round robins. Right now it's a little bit too stiff. It's pretty freaking good. It's already better than the best, I think, the best felt pianos out there. Because most felt pianos, they only use the left pedal, the una corda. So guess what's happening? They recorded one of the 3 strings. That's what a piano is, by the way. 3 strings on every note, except for the lowest octave. It's 3 strings being struck by a hammer. I didn't want to remove the 3 strings and make it 1 string. That's what the actual felt does. In a piano, that's why it sounds quieter. Instead, I want to keep the 3 strings, and I just put felt, cloths on top of it. And now it's the full body sound. Without losing the sound itself. Keep the rich sound. So, yay! I'm a pianist by trade, so I care. I wish there was a faster way to do this, but there's not. How about this? I told you I'd do it. Are you guys, you could be a little bit patient with me today? I'm trying to be patient with myself because I know what else I have to do today. Lame. All right, let's do it this way. I told you I'd do it. Maybe in the meantime, we can chat. If you want to hear the harp go, maybe I'll play it for you. But you can go in my recent Star Fox streams. I used it a lot. Oh gosh, did I mean to turn the sample loop on? It's like a piano tuner right now. You ever had one of those? These guys spend like 3 hours tuning every string. They just play the same note 1,000 times in a row. Because you have to. By the way, this is why I use a left-handed mouse. One was interested in that because I'm right-handed, so I do right hand on all my keyboard type things, and so my left hand does all the editing because there's the big trackball over here with multiple buttons. That's why I can move so fast. I'm a very fast editor with audio, as you can probably see. Comes from practice. All right. See how everyone's just slightly different and in no particular pattern, so it has to be done manual. So tiny waveforms. They're so tiny. It's about as big as you see it. I'm just guessing by ear. There it goes. All right, here's number 3. You'll also notice that the stereo image, if you're wearing headphones or using your monitors, you'll notice how rich the left side is. Like, it's a true stereo image. I have 4, really 5 microphones helping to establish true position. You can hear how it's going further right every time. Cool, huh? All right, cool. And that's just one. Keep saving it every time, just in case. All right, here we go. And then let's go to round robin 4, and then we'll be done with this awful process. And then the fun stuff of actually making the instrument sound good. Right now, we're just making sure our notes play. This is typically the part in the YouTube video where they do fast forward. Sorry guys, it's live. But this is the most tedious part by far. No, just kidding. The worst part is recording. Because you have to hold your breath and not move. It's like you gotta sneeze, suck it up. You gotta breathe, suck it up. You gotta twitch, got a little itch, don't even think about it. Not allowed here. Because then your timings get off. Because every time you make a mistake, I'm talking like any type of outside sound, you have to redo it. And then that's another bar you have to just find and delete in that final waveform. So I've gotten pretty good at sitting still. And I found after just a few notes, I'm a piano player, so I was thinking, oh, I'll just kind of use all my fingers. But then the sound became very uneven. So I actually played every single note with my middle finger. So they were all the same. So they're all the same pressure. They're all the same. Like, crazy, right? Things you don't think about. Recording sampling is so much different than recording the normal way. Because, like, these mics pick up everything. Like, I have to turn off all fan. I had to unplug the fridge and the freezer. Everything. It's like it hears all the buzzing. If people were in the house when I was recording, it would have heard every toilet flush, every step from upstairs, like everything. Which is good. I mean, that's what quality mics do. They pick up everything. Specifically, the condenser mics. The SM57s don't hear anything. They hear nothing but the sound source. That's what dynamic mics do. They reject all noise. There is no noise because there's no electricity. Or I guess there's electricity, but there's no phantom power to like accentuate it. It's pretty cool. Dynamic mics don't get enough love. Oh, we did it. Save. Oh my gosh. That actually did not take as long as I thought it would. I said it was going to take an hour. That took like 10 minutes. This is round robin 4. Sounds amazing. Sounds like a real piano. It's like this is exactly what it sounded like playing it in the garage. And there's no like hiss. There's no room noise. The only room noise you're hearing is like this, picking up a fan. But it's actually... Oh. There's one. See? Now it's fine. Yeah, the AC turning on during the perfect take. Oh my gosh. Yes, AC is like the biggest nightmare. It's just part of recording. You just have to be hot and sweaty and miserable most of the time. Okay, you guys ready for this? This is the best part. Now that that's done, I have a script here. I did not create this script, but it's floating out there somewhere. Basically, it's a round robin script that I've saved as a text file, and I just put it in here. All it does is it randomly... apply it. It randomly shuffles between the 4 groups that I have, whatever I coded it for, and it does not replay the same one twice. That's exactly what I want. If you do the built-in Kontakt group start options round robin, then you have to choose what the order is, and it will always go in the same order. It's not actually random. And if you do the random option, it can play the same one twice, which is not what we want. So by just doing a simple script, now watch what happens. See how it's changing between all of them? There it is, instrument. Now it's a perfect instrument. It is a little quiet though, I'm noticing. My mic's also kind of quiet. Sorry about that. Let me turn it up just a little bit. Negative 30 dB is usually my test. There we go. This is me being loud. Hitting that red. All right. So, still feels quiet. So let's do this. Let's get into the fun stuff. Now that the notes are done, we can actually play and do cool stuff. First things first. Let's go to a low pass filter. First and foremost, let's just turn up the gain. Nah, I'd rather do this. Let's go to the samples themselves. We're going to do edit all the groups, all the things, and we're going to take the volume here. Looks like there is nothing set. Make sure. Let me try that again. Seems to change. There it goes. Now everything is +3. Oops. Back up. There it goes. Now everything's +3. It's not perfect yet. I'll still have to do some tweaks. But it's playable now. All right, it's almost there. So first thing I want to do is over here in my script, I have a GUI started. And this is my default starting place for all my instruments, all my coding there. Basically what I've done is I've set up a reverb knob, chorus knob, delay knob, and dynamics. Dynamics is already, if I right click here, I can learn MIDI mod wheel. Now, at the end of my phrase, I can. Now, piano, you don't usually use that as much, but. All right, let's go ahead and change our color to something else a little bit more interesting. So over here, let's do. There's a baked-in utility called Set Key Color. Pretty cool. It's going to be from A0 to C7. What color do we want everything to be? I'm thinking something like, I don't know, warm, like warm yellow. Oops, should be, and they must call this a -1. Yeah. nice. So a couple things come to mind. I feel like the release time is too early. Let's make it 500. 400. I still don't like the release time. Maybe 200. Let's keep it at 300. Okay, and then let's go over here and turn our reverb up. And that reverb is from the lexicon, whatever they call it. Too much, obviously. I like to do it halfway. Add some delay, quarter note delay. Now I've already noticed that the volumes here in this octave seem to be slightly less than the rest, and it might just be a positioning thing. So a way to fix that is over here in my edit all groups. Let's find that grouping of notes, which means I have to select everything that's not those notes to kind of get them out of the way. Like this, I just kind of duck them out of the way. So I can just select the middle notes. Let's bump those up to like 5. That feels more even. This middle octave, the middle C octave, could also use like a 1 dB boost. Okay, and then put everything back where it belongs in the velocities. The kind of trial and error stuff you just play with it until it feels right. You still hear some poppy notes. It's because those specific notes, start times, were still not perfect. And that's where, cool, I found a mistake. Then I'm going to go to the select zone by MIDI until I see it appear. So it's on number 2. So it's only that one. So select groups only, then I can go to that specific note and fix it like that. Now it's fixed. Pretty cool. Then I also feel like it needs a little bit of compression. Not much, but let's see. this octave is still kind of quiet. It's actually just that one note. Weird. And you hear all the rattling and cracking. I'll have to solve that later too. But this is the kind of stuff you do, is you kind of poke through and you do your best to get it worked out. So for my sanity, I'm just gonna do this. Just do it to each one. I'll make it 9 on each of these F sharps. Just that one particular note, because of the felt, placement of the cloth, whatever, did not. Nice. So it still has some editing to do, but basically, I have my knobs set, and from there I can keep tweaking it and then put a picture in it and all that stuff. But I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, for one day, it's been literally recorded that yesterday, so I'm pretty happy. Let me actually save it without the delay. And then, as time allows here, I mean, I'm already over time, but maybe what I can do is open up, because you so kindly asked. Let me go to the harp. The harp is so good. It's way louder. Why is it so loud? It's because everything else was so quiet. What I was doing for the Star Fox is I was setting my harp to the left and then throwing it into my Aether reverb. Just going ham with it. We all do. Well, it's not for sale. Anyway, that was a personal thing. But anywho, I'm just showing you what you can do. If you don't like something, go make it yourself. Just for a couple minutes, because I said I would. So I showed you horror piano in its, wave-like state. I showed you felt piano. I still have a lot of editing to do there, but it's pretty close already, which is awesome. That's just a good testament of good recording. There's not a lot to do with it, but it needs to be edited for sure to get all those pops and creaks and stuff out of it. And to, I want to probably program a separate group just for the release. That way, because I have release, that hammer sound, the comeback, every time you let go of the key, maybe turn it down. But I'd like to experiment with that. And then the last one I'm working on is the Dulcimer Collection, which is actually pretty far along. And what I wanted to do today, before time escaped me. I still had fun explaining some stuff to you guys. Let me open up just this. So this is my 5 mic setup. And it sounds so good. It's unbelievably. I've never played a dulcimer that I've liked, an instrument that I liked. This is the first one. what's a chrono trigger? What is it? Dang it. It's so responsive. Crazy. Like, it plays exactly when I play. I recorded multiple dynamic layers. So it's very pressure sensitive. Actually really comes alive with chorus too. Or with delay. Awesome. Anyway, have that, have felt. Exact same recording process, but with the felt hammers instead. I feel like I haven't seen that before. Done well. Did plucked as well, finger plucks. Pretty. And then did tremolos on everything, and it's all mod wheel. Still not 100% pitch corrected, but it's close. And I did the same thing with the felt tremolos. Then crazy effects. But anyway, let's go back to the first one. What I wanted to do today was actually add the art. I want to show you how to do that real quick. So basically, over here, I have, should already have over here in Hammer Dulcimer Collection in my art. That's the art I want to use right there. So all I got to do is, whoops, copy that. I want to put it into my resources folder, which I created. Go to the pictures, copy that. Wallpaper is what it's called. And I'm using this script that you have to use as a text document inside your resources pictures file. It's what tells Kontakt to actually load it. And then when I go back to the instrument here, I should be able to go to the cogwheel instrument options and then repack the files, and it should have found it just fine. And then once I come back out, it should be there. Oh, not quite. Maybe I have to, whoopsies. Where do I go for this? Maybe I have to reapply the patch like that. Did that do it? Oh, I have to set the wallpaper. Duh. So the wallpaper itself is going to be here. Inside the resources, inside the pictures. There it is, wallpaper. Now repack, and then boom. Should be there. Yay! That's not terrible. I kind of like that. This is what you get when you deep sample. I'll show under the hood. It's exactly the same as the piano. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different round robins. That's the secret. When you get all the pitches recorded at 4 round robins, and you have them randomly, it just adds such depth. And here's with the 0 reverb. I mean, it's almost as good. Even those low notes. How does it go? One of those. Right. This is so good. Anyway, I like that. I think I might want to make the art. Let's see. Looks like it needs to go down a little bit. Let's play with it, yeah? You know, this was art class today. You wear a lot of hats. You wear a lot of hats when you do this stuff. So let's see if I can take this. I mean, surely it should be really easy. Yeah, it's just that. All the shadow and stuff, stay with it. Let's see if that feels better. And same thing. Let's take the new one. Let's update it over here. And just repack it. Should do it. No. I don't think I fixed anything. How about it's correct in the file. So maybe if I do it this way. Oh, there it is. See, it fixed. Look, now it's in all of them. Cool. That's why we do this folder structure, because then it fixes it for all the patches. I just had to change the patch. That's it. That looks better. Then, you know, these knobs are on top of the Dulcimer. Cool. All right. I'm happy with that. Let's save it. And then when I save it, it just makes sure everything is loaded. Cool. Well, folks, I went way over today, but I wanted to at least show you generally how I'm making these. Get a good instrument to record, get a good mic placement, and usually the rest will take care of itself. And then when you actually, if you import all of the WAV files, you know, once you've bounced them from the 5 mics, in my case, down to the stereo, Then I can throw it back into Pro Tools and do some bulk editing, chopping, either by transient or by bar or whatever. And then once I export all those files, I'll organize them by round robins or by play style and get them into the appropriate folders. And then I open up a blank Kontakt instrument, throw them into the appropriate group folders, usually by round robins, use the scripting to help them cycle randomly. And then from there, I build out the GUI, which is the knobs with the parameters, which are just attached to like what effects are happening. And so typically I like to have like a dynamics mod wheel here that goes up and down with my mod wheel, a reverb, and then you can also set it to where do you want it when someone right clicks on it, or sorry, control clicks on it. What does it reset the value to? So I put it to 50%. I like to leave chorus and delay off, but that way when you open up and you start playing, there you go. Pretty cool. Yeah, and then you go from there and you clean up your audio and you make sure all of the individual notes and round robins work and they sound good, and you play test it and then package it up, move on to the next one. So thanks for hanging out today, guys. This is a little bit different, obviously. If you have not yet jumped onto the Simple Samples Audio YouTube channel, please go subscribe to that. I can't think of the last time I've ever asked someone to subscribe to a channel. But I need 50 people on there to subscribe so that even as soon as next week or beyond, we can do another live stream about Simple Samples from the Simple Samples YouTube channel. I think that'll help a lot. And then from there, we'll be putting new content on there regularly, and I'm excited to get these libraries out to you for the next couple months. So to look out for in your email, VST Buzz is doing a big promo on some of our libraries tomorrow with Simple Samples, so look out for that. I have to go get ready for that right now so that it's all done in time. So hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week. Look out for these brand new libraries and look out for that VST Buzz deal tomorrow. Aside from that, if you don't have the free viola yet, you can go grab that. One more time, I'll pop that into the chat just so we're all clear here. I'm going to grab it. And obviously, check out the other stuff we have. Go enjoy. You guys have a great